Scorecard today, even if you're not a Discover customer. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply. So last night, I'm watching Duke, Carolina, and Zion Williamson blows out his shoe, hurts his knee in a play. And it was interesting. Like, when it happened, nobody knew exactly how serious it was. And the crowd was electric. It was, for 33 seconds, it was fascinating. But I got to tell you, when it happened, the first thing I thought about was not the shoe. I mean, you know, I've seen Manu Ginobili blew out a shoe one. I've seen it happen in the NFL. I've seen it happen with other basketball players. I didn't think the shoe exploding, you know, I didn't think it was the end of the world for Nike. I think they'll get a little negativity in the press. But in the end, it's a great company. It'll be fine. So I didn't worry too much about the shoe. I mean, Nike did the Kaepernick spot, and everybody freaked out, and the stock went up, and they still sold merchandise. My first image when he slid was Adam Silver, Zion Williamson, New York Knicks cap, #1 pick in the draft. I literally transitioned. That's the first thing I thought. I didn't think about Duke. I didn't think about the game. I didn't think about Coach K. I didn't think about the ACC tourney. The first thing I thought was, okay, that's NBA. It was the first.
How optimistic you are.
It was just the first image in my head. The minute I saw it, I'm like, well, we'll see if he comes back. But you could tell from the grimace, I'm like, okay, now it's NBA.
My first thought was disaster.
So you thought disaster?
Well, yeah. I mean,
who?
It's for Zion. I mean, obviously, if this is a major injury, this is a colossal thing to happen at this point in his career. This is what everyone's afraid of. This is what we're all talking about, him sitting for the rest of his college career, and then his shoe explodes, and he blows his knee out. Now, at this point, none of us know the severity of his injury, obviously, when it first happens, but it's knees. Like, that's the main concern you have with a big physical player. So you thought
disaster. I thought Adam Silver, Knicks cap. By the way it works in the NBA lottery this year, the three bottom teams all have the exact same chance to win the lottery. And I have no problem. The Suns, the Knicks, and the Cavs, 14%. Then the Bulls and the Hawks, a slightly lesser percent. I have no problem admitting this. I have never, ever cared in my entire life where college athletes go. I don't care. It's the first time I didn't care where Patrick Ewing went. I didn't care where Michael Vick went. I didn't care. I didn't care where Earl Campbell went when I was a kid. I didn't care where Barry Sanders went. I didn't care where Tim Duncan went. It's the first time, as I'm driving in this morning, I'm thinking to myself, I'm rooting for him to go to the Knicks.
Oh, yeah, I can agree with that. This is the first time it's really been something that we're all kind of rooting for.
Listen, if you've never gone to Madison Square Garden, I'm sorry, it's just different than home games for the Cavs, Atlanta, Sacramento. It's nothing against those cities. And I'm not saying the Knicks are well run, but my first image on it was not that Nike was in trouble. I mean, my takeaway was I've seen Manu Ginobili. I've seen players in the NBA blow out their shoes. I don't know how many people know this. Many of you may know this. NBA players, the stars, wear a new pair of shoes every night. They wear 82 shoes. Some guys change at half.
And they almost all have special inserts.
Yes, yeah. So the shoe thing didn't really, I mean, it was like funny. I went on Twitter and said, from now on, I'm wearing only Big Baller brand shoes. But I didn't really care about the shoes. And I didn't think Zion, too big of a kid. He grimaced, but my takeaway was it's an injury. It's not that. But I transitioned on one play into the NBA. And I'm not anti-college basketball. I'm not like other people, anti-NCAA. I'm not anti-amateurism. But he is such a profoundly captivating kid. Those tickets last night cost more than the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, he's a Nick. Adam Silver. That's like immediately where my mind went. And I'm comfortable with it. I'm okay with it. By the way, Nick Bosa played football for Ohio State, got hurt, and said, I'm done, NFL. We were all okay with it. Why aren't we all okay with this?
Because we want to see him in the tournament, and it feels
so
different.
We're selfish.
There's a little more. It's totally about us. It's completely about us.
Nick Bosa got hurt, left. Nobody had a problem.
I feel like he should sit out. Like, his future is way more important than this. Even though we were all excited about the tournament and what we would see from him, it's way more important that he stays healthy for the NBA. Even though this is not going to affect his draft stock at all.
At all.
But it's, hopefully he's fine.
Yeah, I think he will be. Hopefully he is. Joy with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
So the Lakers are 28-29 and are in danger of missing the postseason for the 6th consecutive season, although this season will feel a little bit different. And yesterday, LeBron said he's not thrilled with the Lakers' poor record, but that he loves being uncomfortable.
I love being uncomfortable. I fall in love with being uncomfortable, so this is another uncomfortable thing for me, and I love it. My level of intensity has to be, now, unfortunately for me, because I don't like to do it at such an early time, I'm a little bit different, but it's been activated, so look forward to seeing what we can do.
I love that he acknowledges. Okay, now this, usually I don't want to play this hard in this many minutes in the NBA regular season, but I am chasing immortality, not MVP awards, so I'll play hard now.
You know what I heard about from that?
What?
I feel like LeBron just admitted he likes a little bit of drama. I think he just admitted that.
What'd he say?
He doesn't like being comfortable. He likes being uncomfortable. You just create a little drama, give you a little bit of anxiety, and he works better in that environment.
No,
It's an admittance of the liking of drama.
You know, here, let me defend. This is not a popular opinion. Let me defend great players who are legends. At some point, it becomes easy. Is it possible that LeBron is bored now with big chunks of the NBA regular season?
That's been that way for several years now. That's not new. That's why I said we flip out every single year before the All-Star break about every LeBron team. He doesn't have enough pieces. Are they going to be able to be in the right seat in the playoffs?
Michael Jordan retired twice. Like, it was like, for whatever reasons.
It's a very long season.
It's a long season, and for legends who have stacks of money and multiple trophies, you know, the regular season, like in baseball. I mean, I have no problem with a guy with a New York Yankee with 2 or 3 rings or a Red Sox saying, okay, I got 20 spring training games, 162 regular season. We're going to make the playoffs. I'm going to find a reason to go on the IR in June. Like, I get it. I know they make a lot of money, and nobody wants to hear me say that. But for legends with stacks of money and stacks and rings,
you have to find another way to motivate yourself, and sometimes you just have to check out. Yeah. But over the last 3 years, his field goal percentage, points per game, rebounds, and assists all go up after the All-Star break. So that's what activated means. And he's going to need it because that making the playoffs thing has to happen.